Welcome to the Jessica Koulianos Podcast. Welcome back. This is episode 2 with my dear friend, John Wilds. We just wrapped up episode 1 and we were talking about worship and just so many things, John, and I just want to get right back into it. You had said that you had the opportunity to do secular music, but you really struggled, and you said it wasn't bad or anything like that, but it just wasn't worship. Talk about that.
Yeah, I got this amazing opportunity that I thought it was an incredible opportunity. And there was a person who was connected to a major label. They had heard me sing and said, I think you have what it takes to do this. Yeah. And so I was in a season where I was trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do. I had just come out of a really tough season and in church. And so I was like, I'll give it a shot. So I go to the studio, and when I try to sing this song, and there was nothing vulgar in the song, I've always had a strong, no for that. But it wouldn't come out of me. And I tried my best to sing it, and I literally could not even get it out. And I remember we tried for several hours. I think it was like 2 or 3 hours we tried to record this song. It was just a demo, and I could not even sing it.
Did you feel convicted or something?
Well, I didn't feel convicted in the moment. I just felt frustrated because I was so embarrassed I couldn't sing it. And I walk out of the room, and it was like the Lord said to me, I didn't create you for that. That's not what I made you for. I made you for worship.
Yeah.
And he would not let me sing it. Now, some people feel like they're called to that market, and that's totally for them. But for me, I knew in that moment it was not what he wanted me to do. So it wouldn't even come out of me.
Gosh.
And honestly, I'm thankful because, my life was probably going to go down a path that I didn't like if I had stepped into that realm. And so the Lord in his sovereignty and the way how he covers us,
so
even when we're cuckoo. Thank you for the cuckoo covering, Lord. Where he covers you, I always tell people, thank you for the prayers he answered. But also the ones he's like, no.
He said, no way.
No, sir. Just the sovereign hand of God on my life just would not let that come out of me.
I love that because I've always seen you as so special, the way you worship the Lord. And not saying, I got my own opinions about that, but it's not for this. But you do see that happen a lot where people do cross over. And if God gives them permission to do that, that's between them and the Lord. But there are certain times in our lives and certain people where the Lord is like, that's just not for you. And we've had offers, different ones, not with singing, but just different offers for books or other things that you're like, I know I could do it, but it just doesn't feel right for me.
Yes.
It doesn't feel right. I just feels like something about this is I just don't feel like the Lord is saying yes, and I have to obey that. I have my own convictions, and I often tell our students this. I'm like, just because somebody else, maybe it's not sinful, but if the Lord told you not to do it, then it's sinful for you to do it.
Absolutely.
Even if it's not sinful in general, if the Lord's telling you no, then it's no. Like there's certain convictions you just have, and you have to stick to that.
Which conviction is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
That's your best friend.
You need it.
That's the Holy Spirit. It's the Holy Spirit who convicts. So when I feel conviction, I don't need to be like, oh man, I can't do this. No, I need to be, wow, he sees something that I don't see. He knows something that I don't know. And I said it today, he knows the end from the beginning. God sees all and knows all. So I've just learned to trust him. Like if I get an opportunity, even the good ones, it doesn't have to be some secular thing, which by the way, like you said, if people are called to that, then that's them. But it can be good things. It can be ministry, a ministry opportunity, going to lead worship somewhere, which he's called me, and that's part of my assignment is leading worship. but I don't even want to just lead worship everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go where he's leading me. Exactly, where he's calling me to go. Don't just take every opportunity. My pastor even says, son, not every opportunity is your opportunity.
Even if it's good.
Even if it's good. Just because one presents itself to you, you go, well, you don't need to assume that that's what the Lord wants when you walk with him.
Yeah.
You don't have to make any assumptions.
Yep.
He's not guessing about your assignment. He's not guessing about your purpose. He's not guessing about your destiny. He's absolutely certain. And so if anyone's guessing, it's me.
Yes.
So I guess I need to be alone with the Lord and ask him, is this what you want from me?
Even the timing of it, I feel like sometimes there's a door that might open that you're like, I knew I'd always preach here or sing here, but maybe the year is off. Maybe it's not the right time for you. And that's okay. I remember this story, I'm sure could be a little harsh for some people, but I mean, it really helped me and Michael. Joy Dawson, who's now with the Lord, was very much a spiritual mother to Michael, and I do not use that term loosely. She was a real spiritual mother. And when Michael lost his voice, as you know, he did, he had 2 polyps on his vocal cords and he couldn't talk, and that was just horrible. And I remember I called Joy. Michael couldn't talk at the time, so I called Joy kind of for both of us just to fill her in. She always wanted like an update. And Joy Dawson, if you don't know, or many people don't, but she like helped birth YWAM. She was used to travel with Lauren Cunningham. She was just so respected, and just she was tough, John, like tough. But I loved her. And I remember I called her for sympathy, and she was so bold. And she said, didn't I teach you on the fear of the Lord? I was like, yes. She goes, didn't I teach you that you and Michael just don't say yes to everything? That you have to pray and bring everything to the Lord? And she's like, the reason why Michael's in this situation, don't blame God for it, honey. She was like, he's in this situation because he said yes to things that he should have said no to. And I didn't like to hear it at the time. It kind of made me a little bit, not mad, but just like, ouch, you know? Wow, that was, you know, I wanted someone to like braid my hair and tell me it's going to be okay, sweetheart. And that's not what I got, but that stuck with me. And now every time, and she did tell me and Michael that early on, she said, just don't take any engagement. You pray about everything. I don't care if you know them. I don't care if you have history. I don't care if it's the biggest movement in the world. You make sure God's timing is on everything. He might want you home. This might be a season where your kids need you. Like, you need to know that the Lord's telling you to go. And there was a time when we got a little sloppy with that because we just felt like the Lord's moving. So we just indicated yes. But we paid a price for that. And I'm not saying, I don't know why that happened to Michael. All I know is it happened. And I do think Michael and I, we look back, we were definitely not as strict as we used to be with making sure the Lord was saying yes to everything we were doing. You talk too much, you might lose your voice eventually. You preach too much, you sing too much. Maybe you don't need to sing all that time. Maybe the Lord wants you just to go home and be with your family that weekend. You know, you just don't know. So I love that you hit on that. So whenever you get an invitation, John, are you going to the Lord first and then asking the Lord yes or no?
Yes, because I've also been there. And I think that should be comforting to people who think we always get it right.
Yeah, we don't.
No, we're urging you because we've gotten it wrong before. And I think, obviously, the kindness of God, right? Leading us back to where we belong in His will. That's the safest place for any of us to be, in His will. He's only obligated to cover what's submitted to Him.
Yes.
That's the promise. You have that promise, but you have to be submitted to the Lord. And I can't just assume that I go and do whatever I want and God's going to cover it. Now, again, there's grace. And I'm so thankful for where grace made up for where I was an idiot. But I think it's beautiful to do what God is calling us to do, what He's asking us to do, because He wants to do it with us. And I remember this season, I was so frustrated because I was doing all these things. And I'm like, these are all good things. I'm doing these for the Lord. And I was overwhelmed. I was so depressed in that season. I was literally depressed. And I'm like, this doesn't add up, like to be doing the thing that I feel called to do, but I'm depressed about it. Like, why am I depressed? Depression shouldn't even be a thing if I'm living the dream. well, he said, you feel this way because you're doing a lot for me, but you're not doing very much with me.
Wow.
And I didn't even realize it because it's a subtle thing, right?
Yeah.
The subtle yes can lead to a big mess. When you say yes to something that's not the Lord, it could seem like a small thing.
Yeah.
But you blink your eyes and you go, how did I get in this place? You
Yeah.
got there one yes at a time. And so, like, I learned in that season that my no is just as powerful as my yes.
Yeah.
And my no to something that's not the Lord is a yes to what is the Lord.
That's right. That's so true, John. I love that you hit that. So a question I wrote down that I think could help a lot of people. You probably don't even remember the story. And I'm going to not give the whole details. I'm not trying to call anybody or anything out. But years ago, we were doing ministry together, and there was someone that was booked to do worship, and they didn't want to do worship anymore. They're like, I want to come speak. It was almost like it was looked at like that worshiping was beneath a speaking engagement. And I remember we called you, and you were like, absolutely. Like, you were like, of course I'm there. And I remember telling Michael, I was like, see that heart? That God will use that. Do you see how he was like just instantly jumped on that opportunity? And again, I know we just said you pray about everything. Of course, like I'm not trying to contradict what we just said. I'm just saying you wanted the Lord to use you. You did not see jumping on keys and backing a preacher as less than. And I think that's really beautiful because you've always been such a hard worker, John. You work hard. You take what the Lord has gifted you with very seriously. Sometimes when you are backing someone in keys, it could be looked at as, oh, I'm not the main speaker. And I like just speak on that because I see that a lot with people in the worship, just the worship space where it's like, this is less than, I want a speaking engagement instead. And I'm like, do you realize what you are bringing to the speaker, to the room, to the Lord, your ministry unto him? I've never seen it as less than. I've seen it as actually one of the most beautiful things.
Yeah.
So just I remember that story, and you might remember it too. And again, it wasn't that the other person was doing anything bad. It just was like you were like, gosh, man, just put me on those keys and I'll serve, I'll jump in, just tell me where, when, I'm there. And I knew from that moment on, I'm like, this guy's going to go places because he's got a heart of servanthood. So speak on that for a little bit.
Yeah, well, one, obviously the goal is not for us to be seen in the first place. I remember doing this event, and I don't know that I've ever shared this publicly. Only a handful of friends know about this story, where since I was a kid, since I was a teenager, I've played for events. I even, for a season, I think it was 2 years, every Saturday, I played for funerals. Like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that job.
No.
I was doing it not because I enjoyed funerals. Who wants to be in a room with dead bodies? I didn't enjoy that. What I enjoyed was getting to use my gift.
Yeah.
And there was an amazing singer who would take me with her, and she would lead at these events. She was like a grandmother to me. And I just enjoyed getting to minister. Like, I didn't care. So I've tried to keep that same heart. I've ministered in storefronts.
Yeah.
I even for a season was a part of a storefront. And it was amazing. God moved. What's the difference? There's no difference in the place. He's no perspective of places. No. Right? Did I say that right?
Persons. But you made it places. It's okay.
But like, as long as the Lord is there and I get an opportunity, I think of this mentality of he has chosen me to be part of what he's doing in the earth.
Yes.
What? He's chosen me to be part of what he's doing in the earth.
Yeah.
What he is doing is always significant. So how can I see any opportunity as insignificant?
Yeah, so good.
Everything the Lord does is significant. So to say that it's insignificant is to go, well, that's not enough for me. Yeah. I'm saying that to him. Yeah. If he gives me an opportunity to minister and be part of what he's doing in the earth, I should be thankful that he even chose me. So I try to keep that mentality. I mean, like I said, I used to do funerals every week. I hated funerals, but I loved getting to use my gift
They
and
can't tell you
lead
you
people
suck.
in
They
worship.
can't talk back.
Yeah.
They just...
Yeah, exactly. It was good to them. He's like,
Oh, man.
I was the best singer in the world to them, but also my music was to die for. But anyway, so...
We got to keep this moving because you and I could get down. We could go down.
But here's
Yeah.
another thing. I recently have sang BGVs for someone's album.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a worship leader. I'm a worship pastor.
Yeah.
I have a full-time job. I travel. I go around the world, and I'm blessed for all of that. I sang BGVs on somebody's album. You know why? Because I still love it.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares who's seen?
You have to stay hungry, too.
Yeah,
You
but there
do.
was this event, and the story I was going to tell you, I'll be quick with it. There's this event that I was so blessed to be a part of. I was so excited, and it was a gathering of pastors and church leaders, and it was amazing. And I was so excited to be a part of this event, and the person who arranged the event, and this is no knock to them, but the person who arranged the event asked me to play an instrument, and I said yes because I was so eager to serve. And then I get in for sound check. You know where the instrument is? It's backstage. It's literally backstage. It's not on the stage, not off the side of the stage. It is behind the curtain. And the whole team, everyone else, every other musician had a place on the stage. And I walk in, and one of my friends, one of my best friends, he's still one of my best friends today for like 20 years. He looked at me and said, "Bro, that's wrong. That's wrong." And you know what I did? I looked at him and I said, "I get to be part of what the Lord's doing."
Kept your heart right.
And I played that. I played that mug.
Like
I
know you did.
played it, and I said, "Thank you." I literally had to pray in that moment and say, "Lord, thank you for this opportunity," so that I wouldn't get bitter because somebody put me. Like, no. I still saw it as I'm part of what God's doing.
You have to watch your heart because I think in the natural you could be like, "Excuse me," but it's like. It's all a gift. I say that to our worship team all the time, our staff. I say it to myself. Me and Michael say it to each other. I'm like, we're all replaceable. Like every single one of us is replaceable. We could screw this up. We're not that amazing. And I know people are like, don't talk down on yourself. I'm like, no. Like without the Lord, like we're all replaceable.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be somebody that wants it more.
Yes.
There's always going to be someone that's willing to pay a price that maybe you don't want to pay.
Yeah.
I'm like, so you have to guard this because we're all replaceable. You start thinking that you're the star.
Yeah.
He's the star. He's the only one. And so I kind of like those stories because I think I remember them. And there's many more I could say, John, that you and Michael have had together where we've just kind of like bumped up against that. It's just kind of like, it gets like very much like I'm here for your set and I'm leaving. And you're like, whoa. Like, we're ministering together today. Like this isn't a gig. Like this is, we are offering the Lord our very best. And I've really admired that about you, John. And you've never come in here or probably anywhere and made us feel like you're here just to entertain us and then leave. Never. You've always been in the pocket. You've always given your all. You've come at times where you've been tired, physically tired, maybe sick, maybe your voice is a little, you're exhausted, and you always give 100%. And I love that about you, John. And thank you for not changing. And really, we started doing partner events together.
Yeah.
Not at church, not at school, not at events. Like John Wilds and Michael, we all started, the ministry really started. Michael's an evangelist, and we just did partner things together.
Yeah.
We need a singer.
Those were the sweetest.
And I miss them very much. Like
Where can you come and cry your eyes out while eating hotel eggs?
I know. And in the beginning, we would pay for people's food just to get them in the door. Remember? I was like, no one wants to come. So how about you can come get a free $30 meal? And we were going in debt. And our CPA was like, I don't think this model is working for you. You need to at least charge people for their food so you break even. And I was like, no one's going to show up. But we're like, okay, we'll just worship. We'll do whatever we can, like just to make people feel that, they came to something that's worth their time. And so we brought you in on the early years, and we were like, John, will you just sing so that people can get touched by the Lord, and then we could share the vision of the ministry. And that's how we started. And I love that that's how we started. And we forget those days sometimes, but it was really special, John. I miss those days, don't you? Yeah. I know. It seems like a lifetime ago. Now you make me cry. But yeah, it all started like that. And that's, I think, why we love ministering to the Lord now in a more public way. But it's like, it didn't start like that. And so me and Michael say this all the time, John, and like, ministry can be hard. And life is hard. We've all gone through stuff. And sometimes you have to just be aware of like how it started. You have to remind yourself like, oh, I didn't start with all of this. I didn't start with a staff. I didn't start with a school. I didn't start with, worship albums and writing songs. I didn't start with a church, a ministry. I started with just Jesus, and that's how it began. And it gives you like this peace in your heart, like no man can take that.
Yeah.
Like the Lord could, of course, but the devil can't, unless if you do something and screw it up and be stupid, of course. Like we could all screw it up, but it's like there's like this peace that overcomes you when you're like, oh, I know how we got here. I didn't get here with promotion, or I got here just loving Jesus. It started really simple for us. We started with just believing God to even having a partner event. And now here we host events all over the world now, and it's like we used to have to believe the Lord just that even 30 people would show up, and just to be able to have like pay our bills, like it. So it gives me that assurance. You go back to like, I know where it started. And I told our worship, and this might sound harsh, and I'm not meaning to sound harsh, but I'm like, gosh, you guys could all leave. I hope you don't. Staff, you could all walk out on us tomorrow. I hope you don't. I love you. I hope you don't. But you got to understand that we'll just go back to doing what we used to do. We can go sit in a room and worship the Lord together. And if the Lord is with us, He's with us. Yeah.
There was no pressure then.
No.
And there's no pressure now.
Yeah.
My pastor says, we don't perform, we worship, and God performs.
Exactly.
Like, we just give Him what He's asking. And those days were so special. Oh, Lord, help me. They were so special. And that, honestly, complete transparency, that's what makes it so special now. Is, if it ever gets, I told you, the Lord told me several years ago, if you ever allow it to become about anything else, then it will eventually become about everything else.
Yeah.
All these layers of things that we use to we make our life so difficult, we make ministry so difficult, following Jesus, we make it so difficult, all these things. Jesus to add is to take away. Dance with the one who brought you is another thing my pastor says. He was like, you come to the dance with someone, you have all this expectation, you go, you get beautiful, you do all these things, you get the best gift and all this, and then walk off and leave that person in the corner. Yeah. No, I came here with him. Yeah. I'm here because of him. I'm leaving with him. Yeah.
And it takes the weight off, don't you think,
it
John?
Does.
It just makes it more simple. I think sometimes we can overcomplicate our walk with the Lord, our ministries, our worship, our even people that are watching and listening, they're like, oh, I don't have a ministry, I don't have a worship ministry. Just even the Christian life. Like sometimes we have to just go back to the beginning and remember where this whole thing started.
Yeah.
And then it just takes the pressure, because if not, you can just put so much pressure on yourself, John, to just muster up something, and it's just, no one wants to live that way. It really is, like you've been saying all day, it really is just about Him. We can't add on to it, and we definitely can't think that we can do it without Him.
Yeah. There was a day when Jesus, so I tell people I grew up in church, they ask me when I got saved, and I say, well, I kind of got serious around 16 years old. And remember, I told you I started leading worship when I was 17. Yeah. So just before that is when it became real to me, like in a new way. Yes, it was real when I asked the Lord to come into my heart, but I was in an environment that was pretty chaotic. And so I didn't have a real understanding. Yeah. And so it was when I sat with Him and I said, okay, I've seen a lot. I need you to show me that you're real. Yeah. And he touched me there in that moment. And that began this just a complete shifting. And I've had to unlearn things over the years. I've not been perfect, but like when that happened, I decided things were actually simpler than I thought. I couldn't work my way into God loving me and being pleased with me. I couldn't do enough, but I could surrender.
Yeah.
It was simple. I think religion complicates things. Well, dead religion, I should say.
Yes.
Dead religion complicates things.
Yeah.
But religion in its purest form actually is centered around Jesus.
Yeah.
And pleasing him. Like, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments.
Yes.
So if I just love him more, then I'll find what it really is all about. And so things got simple for me in that season. And I've just determined, over the years, as, life has tried to complicate things, it just goes like, if it gets too complicated, I go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Simplicity is better.
Yes, it is.
The simplicity of knowing Jesus, the beauty, it's the most profound thing.
It is.
Like, it's the only thing that I've accomplished.
Yeah. And doesn't it make you feel just more clean and pure when you feel just more simple?
It's the only thing I've accomplished.
Yeah. There's beauty in that, isn't there?
Yeah.
I always tell people, I'm like, the weird thing is I'm more unaware of who I am in him now, the more favor I've gotten, the more people might know of Jesus' image. I'm like, it's not insecure. I'm like, I'm more secure than I used to be, but my security now is found more in him and not in me.
Yeah.
And I feel like, how's the right way to say it? I am more aware of my I can't explain it. I'm more aware of my weakness in a way. Maybe that's the best way to say it. Like, when I'm preaching on a stage or in front of people or whatever it may be, I'm more aware of how weak I really am.
Your frailty. Yeah.
My frailty, that's the perfect word. Like, I feel more frail, and I'm like, but 5-6 years ago, or when I was just starting and like preaching more, of course, Michael had been in ministry longer, but it was newer. Preaching's been, more new to me. I was like, I was so sure of myself back then, so aware of myself, so confident that I had something to bring. And now I'm just like, I don't have that confidence. Doesn't mean I'm not confident. Yeah. So people always like, oh, don't say that. Like, be more. I'm like, I'm not trying to like dumb myself down. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying, like, I legit like feel more insignificant.
Yeah.
Because I'm so aware that I need him so much more now. Yes. Life is more complicated. Mm-hmm. It's more full. There's much more to lose. The weight is stronger. It's more costly now. It's like, you don't just, if I screw up, it's not just me. I've got, if Michael screws up, it's not just Michael and me. It's not just our family that's affected. It's our staff. It's our students. It's people that go to our church. Like, it's the weight is more weighty. And that scares me to death.
Yeah.
Scares me to death. But I'm glad it does, John.
Yeah.
I'm glad it scares me. I want it to scare me because I want to fear the Lord in a healthy way. Yes. It's healthy to fear the Lord.
It's wise.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of wisdom.
You're so right. You're so right. But I think it's not, I don't think that's talked about enough. And I think, like, even you as a worshiper, I think the more people that hear your name or download your songs or know of, they've streamed your music, it's like, in the natural, that should make John go, which I know it does, and that's why I love you so much, and that's why we've been running together so long, is like, oh my God, I better not screw this up. I better be careful. I better hold myself to a higher standard. And we're not perfect. Yeah. None of us are. We're not Jesus. But it's like just being more aware, like, I've been trusted with more now. So I have to take things more seriously.
Yeah, and I think understanding, like you said, that we're not perfect, and have an awareness of that.
Yeah.
Like, have an awareness that in your weakness, his strength is made perfect. Like, so I boast in my weakness.
My weakness, yeah.
Because I know, like, I can mess this up. We're all,
we're humans.
You see someone mess up, you go, I would never.
Oh, please.
Yeah. I remember this one time I was praying and I said, I'm never going to do this. And then I got convicted immediately and I said, oh, Lord, forgive me. With your help, I can do this the right way. You know, we've all made mistakes, but like, it's the beauty of knowing, like, I actually need the Lord.
Yes.
I'm relying on him. I'm not relying on my own goodness.
Because in our strength, we can't.
Yeah.
Like my dad used to always say something that stuck with me since I was a little kid. He said he was guilty of it. And he said, be careful whenever you see someone fall or someone in ministry mess up. And unfortunately, it's always been this way. It's rampant right now in the body, you know? He goes, be careful not to go, I would never do that. He goes, the moment you say that, he goes, you put a target on your back where the devil goes, oh, I can come at them now because they think they can fight me in their own strength. But none of us can fight the enemy. I mean, if King David fell into temptation, who do we think we are?
Exactly. That
we couldn't fall into temptation when we're not clinging to the cross.
Yeah.
So my dad always said that. He's like, never say that, never judge. He goes, now, of course, sin is sin. You got to, of course, no one's okay with it. He was like, but you pray for them. He goes, never think you're above that because the moment you start thinking that you could never do that, you're a target. He goes, because we're all flesh. Don't forget it. And I'm like, gosh.
Every one of us.
He said things I would judge other people in all the time. He's like, I fell into areas in my life that I wasn't pleased with. But I remember I used to judge people for how could they be so weak. And we've all done that, John.
Yeah.
We've all done that. And now I think with social media, it's so easy to just jump on and be a and now I used to call it Facebook warrior. Now there's so many social media apps. It's just a keyboard warrior, I guess. But it's like we're all so quick to think that we could never mess up. But without Jesus, of course we will.
Yeah, we're already jacked up without him.
I know. I know.
Like the reason that any good comes from our life is because we're wrapped up in him.
Yeah.
Like anything good comes from him. So I think having that understanding, like it's not walk on eggshells and go, oh my gosh, am I gonna? No, but it's just keeping that reality of like, I am not here on my own accord. Yeah. I did nothing to earn this. And I'm not the one who can keep myself here. I'm not the one who sustains myself.
Yeah.
It's the Lord who sustains me. So every day realizing there is a total and complete dependency on the Lord.
And that keeps you out of condemnation as well.
Right.
Because I think sometimes people can go to the extreme where they always feel condemned. They never feel worthy. They don't realize the redemption of the cross. I see that a lot with our students where I'm like, did you repent? Yes. I'm like, it's under the blood. Like, you're not struggling with that sin anymore? No. I'm like, then stop thinking about it. The Bible says that he drives it out as far as the east from the west.
Yes.
Like, just the Lord, give it to the Lord and let it go and keep moving. But I do think like, and when we don't cling to him, we make it about us and we'll mess it up, like you said. We're all messed up. I realize that every time I jump in the car and someone cuts me off, I'm like, wow, I am a weak vessel still, like, because I get angry. And
I remember seeing you, no, I'm just kidding.
No, J-Dog is real.
J-Dog.
J-Dog is real. Michael always
That's your street name?
That's my street name, J-Dog.
J-Dog.
Michael's been calling me that since I met him. He's like, you are a little J-Dog. I'm like, yes, I am. But I mean, I'm spicy sometimes, and there's almost like especially not with the Lord, John, I'll see that flesh kick back in, and maybe I'm not going to curse you out now like I would before Jesus or do something crazy, but like I'm still as angry in my heart, and I'm like, oh man, like I'm aware I am just made of flesh. Like without the Lord, I don't even like myself when I'm driving or making coffee or just in my kitchen because I'm so full of flesh.
Yeah.
Full of it.
And if you're full of flesh, there's no room for the Lord. If you're full of the Lord, there's no room for flesh.
I love that.
So I just go, the more I tell him I love him, the less I'll have to tell him I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it's just this, I don't know, like a consistent surrender, which we all have to do.
Yes.
Like Romans 12 is telling us to actually put ourselves, our whole selves on the altar as living sacrifices. I live sacrificially. My whole life needs to be a sacrifice.
Yes.
Worship at its core is sacrifice.
Yes.
And it's giving, but it's not something that you have to conjure up to give him. I wrote the song years ago, and the ending line is, "Come to the altar where all you can offer is you."
I love that.
Anything we have to give to the Lord is because He's given it to us, so we don't have to conjure up something to bring to Him, but just bring your all, like your everything. And there is the temptation, because it is a sacrifice. Like in biblical times, the sacrifice it bled out there. It didn't get up off the altar. That's the challenge with being a living sacrifice, is we want to come off that altar when it don't feel good,
That's right.
And so we have to remind ourselves, no, I am living on the altar. I live there. So I don't get to hold on to offense. It's not that you don't ever feel anything, but you quickly kill it.
Yes.
Like, quickly kill it.
Deal with it.
Yeah, as soon as it comes up, kill it. I'm living on the altar.
Yeah.
I am a sacrifice to the Lord.
Yes.
I don't get to cuss this person out. I don't get to be offended. Like, when's the last time you offended a dead man?
Yeah.
Like, so if I get offended, I legit go, oh, what part of me didn't die today?
Oh, John, it's a temptation every day. As we're closing, John, I just felt to maybe ask you this question. I think some of the worship songs in this generation are beautiful. But I often find myself going back to listen to a lot of the old songs. And again, I was raised with a dad that sang the old songs. To him, they're really old songs, like the songs like, "This is new." And I'm like, no, this is like from 30 years ago, Dad. Like, so it's a whole different mindset. But I know there's certain songs that we sing at Jesus Image that my dad used to sing in the Crusades, like "Oh, the Glory," that was written during an encounter. So when you sing "Oh, the Glory," you're like, why do I feel the Lord so strong? You're like, well, it was written in an encounter. That's why you can feel the Lord. Why do you think it is, John, that, and I'm not saying all the songs, because I think there's beautiful songs that are being written in this generation, but why is it that it seems like in the old generation, a lot of those songs that were written carry a weight that some of these newer songs in this generation don't carry? Why do you think that is?
Yeah. Less options, I think, back then, We have so many additives now.
Okay.
I mean, why did people, and still, like you go, there's an older generation that lived so much longer.
Yeah.
Look at what they consumed. Like, look at what they actually consumed, the food they consumed.
It was less additives. Right? Yeah.
And you go, it's unhealthy, like fried chicken. I love fried chicken, amen. People ate that stuff back then with lard and all this kind of stuff, but they didn't have all these additives, and they lived to be like 93, 97. Now we have all these additives. I think it's the same. Like there's so many additives now, and it's not obviously I'm not shaming anyone, but I'm saying, like, bring yourself to a place where all the additives are gone, like in your life, so that when you have this song that comes from your spirit, like it comes from a genuine place without all the added things. We don't have to add so much.
You don't really think you need to add.
No, there was rich theology.
Yes.
There was a deep encounter.
Yes.
Like there were personal encounters that people had with the Lord. And so, and those are wells. I look at songs like wells, I go back often. I did it this week. I listen to older songs. I think listen to the things, I think Michael and I talked about this, like in seasons where we feel like dry. We go back to the old wells.
Yeah.
Things when my heart came alive, really, and I felt like fire, and I would weep. I go back to those songs and those messages, because they just stir my heart again. And I think that's why you see that, because we're also bridging generations in those moments, which is I think is God's idea.
I do too.
Like that you bridge the gap between generations and not go, the new stuff is bad or the old stuff is bad. No, like if it's coming from the Lord, coming from a genuine place, then it's going to be pleasing to the Lord. But it also bridges generations.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed to see, 20, 25-year-olds or, even teenagers singing, "Oh, the glory."
Me too.
Oh, your presence.
That's my favorite song, I think, of all time.
And it still moves people's hearts to worship the Lord. It came from a real rich place, and there weren't as many options back then. Now, we're
spoiled with options.
We are spoiled. We're so spoiled.
You're right.
And we have seasons where we worship our worship, and it's like, What?
Yeah.
No, let's strip it. Sometimes stripping it down
Yeah, I agree.
is important too. So, yeah, I think that's why it came from a real genuine place. I'm not saying that people are releasing songs now are not genuine.
No, I'm just saying,
But
I
there
think
is a
there's
deep
some
connection.
beautiful ones, but I often find myself going back to the old ones. And I know, again, I was raised in those songs, so I'm like, well, that might be why I do it. But even my son, Theo, we were talking about him in the back. He, played golf for years. Now he's at Jesus School. He felt to lay it down, and he's taken up piano, and which is supernatural. No one taught him, never got a lesson, John, nothing like that. And he's been listening to, not even, my dad's stuff, but, from, the 80s, the 90s, the old stuff. And I'm like, what is drawing you to this music? And he's trying to learn piano the way that my dad's team used to do it, which is not cool in this generation. I'm like, what is drawing you to this kind of music? And he's like, there's just something on it, Mom. I don't know why, but this is what I'm drawn to. These are the songs that are moving me, and they're old hymns and very old songs, but they're straight gospel, John. They're the word. They're not about how people are feeling. And I'm not saying there's not a place for that. I think that's beautiful, but it's it's straight word, and it's moving him. And I do feel like the Lord is, like you said, he's blending the generations together right now, which is so holy, because we need the older generation, and the older generation needs the younger generation to keep them on fire, and just to pull out from them what they've got so much to give us, John.
Yeah.
And I think that's really beautiful what you said, just the additives, keep it simple.
Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate it.
And my prayer is that these songs that we're releasing now, even people that are watching this and maybe songwriters, my prayer is that these songs that are coming from our hearts, that they would come from a genuine place without all the additives.
Yeah.
And I don't mean your lyrics can't be this and that, but let it be rich in theology, let it be about the Lord, to the Lord, all of that kind of stuff. And my prayer is that 20, 30 years from now, that they would be singing these songs that this new generation is releasing, because this new generation also wasn't afraid to connect with those old wells.
Yeah.
I think for Theo to be learning what he's learning right now, can you imagine 20, 30 years from now the impact that music that's released from his life is going to have on generations?
Only the Lord could
but he
do
connected to.
Yeah.
And that generation connected to, and we all connected to
the word.
The word.
Yeah. One of my dad's piano players was teaching Theo recently, giving him a lesson. And Theo just is like a sponge. He wants to learn. Courtenay's working with him today. I think he's just anyone that will help me. He would come to your house if you told him to come, and just got on the piano with you. But one of my dad's piano players started crying, and he's not an emotional man. And Theo was like, "Why are you crying?" He goes, "I felt this music was going to die with me and my friends, because no one wants to do music like this anymore. This generation doesn't really like this kind of music." And he's like, the fact that you want to learn it, he's like, it's messing me up. It's making me cry, because I just thought that this was going to die with this generation. But the Lord it's his, so he's going to preserve it and carry it on. And like you said, it's all based in the word.
And it's going to release something, I believe, if we will honor a previous generation, right? That we, in one season, I'm not saying we do it now, but in one season, I feel like we wrote off the last generation.
Yeah.
Because we were so bent on producing a new sound. There's a new sound, there's a new sound.
Yeah.
We got so focused, and we thought we were going to be the ones to produce a new sound. No, it's still the Lord.
It's all the Lord. There's nothing new.
It's
it's all him. We think we're coming up with something
there's
new.
A new sound, heaven's going,
this has been going on for thousands of years.
Heaven's
sit down.
How are you going to touch the Ancient of Days with your new song? But I
It's so true. Well, the Lord actually told Michael, and we'll wrap up with this, John. I could talk to you for hours. When Michael started preaching just the simplicity of the cross and the message of Jesus, it was so criticized, because it was not what everyone. It was more like, tell me how I'm feeling, tell me how I'm victorious. And I'm not saying that's bad. I think there's a time for that. That's just not what we felt called to. And the Lord told Michael, I'm going to give you a message so old that it will sound new. Because it just again, and it shouldn't have been that way. These are things that we should always be talking about, the cross, surrender. But I do see the Lord is really using these things right now in this hour, the simplicity of loving him. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
It's all about that.
It's all
And
about
everything is an addition from there on. But I love you, John. Thank you for being with us. And thank you guys for tuning in. I'm so thankful just to get the time to be with you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, maybe I'll have John back next time. If you didn't, just let me know, and I'll never invite him back again. But we love you, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the Jessica Koulianos Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, you can find more resources at jessicakoulianos.com. You can also join us in person or online every Sunday at Jesus Image Church. For more information on Jesus School, local and nationwide events hosted by Jesus Image, and resources, visit us at jesusimage.tv.